Hello and happy Eclipse Saturday, at least here in the United States. It's October 14th. I'm Dr. Minette Riordan. This is Painting in Your PJs live with Minette. I am not in my PJs. It is a gorgeous Saturday, and I am headed out to teach a live class in person with real humans today. I can't wait, but I don't want to get behind on my Inktober Tangles challenge either. So I thought I would stop by here for a minute and share a poem. And one of my favorite patterns so far from this whole challenge that I can tell you I'm going to be using over and over again in my work as I go forward. It's quite delightful. So, welcome to Painting in Your PJs with Minette, where most of the time it's early in the morning. I am in my PJs, or it's a Wednesday evening and I might still be in my PJs. Painting in Your Pajamas with Minette is about art as creative process, as creative practice, as a way to come into a deeper, more present moment relationship with ourselves. I'm super passionate about using expressive and narrative arts as tools for personal growth and self-discovery. And there's no rhythm or rhyme to a lot of what I do. I'm just here sharing what I love about art. And Zentangle is one of the things that I love the most. If you're not familiar with Zentangle, it's a meditative form of drawing using simple strokes to create beautiful patterns using a very mindful approach. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. So all month long, I am tangling inside of this gorgeous anthology of Mary Oliver's poem Devotions. I love, love, love Mary Oliver's poetry, and I am having a blast adding various patterns inspired by the Inktober Tangles 2023 list of patterns. I love this particular challenge. I don't do a lot of these, but this one I love because I always discover old favorites anew or learn new patterns that I hadn't seen before. And so these are just a few of the examples of the poems and patterns that I have shared the step outs and the poems for so far throughout this month. And you can see in the playlist for Inktober Tangles all the videos from these different pages. For today, I really loved this poem, Oxygen. Sometimes I just randomly open the page, but sometimes I'm finding that I'm really enjoying. Oh, here's a few other days as well. That one turned out super fun. Love the simplicity of this and love this pattern Nayu. And sometimes I just open the book randomly, but this morning I was kind of flipping through and just reading some of the poems, and this poem Oxygen by Mary Oliver really struck me. So I'm going to share the poem with you, and then I'm going to share the pattern with you, and I'm just going to draw a couple of them today. Time is limited, and it's such a great reminder that we don't need a lot of time in order to tangle or to make art. We often think that we need hours and hours of time. We don't. Sometimes 5 or 10 minutes is all we need to bring us back to ourselves. One poem is all we need to bring us back to ourselves. So this is Oxygen by Mary Oliver. Everything needs it. Bone, muscles, and even while it calls the earth its home, the soul. So the merciful, noisy machine stands in our house, working away in its lung-like voice. I hear it as I kneel before the fire, stirring with a stick of iron, letting the logs lie more loosely. You, in the upstairs room, are in your usual position, leaning on your right shoulder, which aches all day. You are breathing patiently. It is a beautiful sound. It is your life, which is so close to my own that I would not know where to drop the knife of separation. And what does this have to do with love? Except everything. Now the fire rises and offers a dozen singing deep red roses of flame. Then it settles to quietude or maybe gratitude as it feeds, as we all do, as we must, upon the invisible gift, our purest sweet necessity, the air. And that is the poem Oxygen by Mary Oliver. Lots to savor in here. And I love reading these poems over and over again. I love sinking into them. I love using lines in these poems as journaling prompts. And there are so many here. Where to drop the knife of separation? What does this have to do with love except everything? Feeds as we all do upon the invisible gift, our purest sweet necessity, the air. So many lovely, lovely lines to ponder as we tangle with this really sweet, sweet pattern. Prima by Kimberly Wood. Prima by Kimberly Wood. And all the step outs are on Instagram. And what I love is that she is celebrating. This is her first official tangle, and it's quite a lovely, lovely tangle. And it's another botanical inspired tangle. And I'm seeing a few of them sort of floating up and down the page here. And I'm going to start with one. So we have the step outs, and then we'll decide where to go. So we're going to start with a simple stem. So we're going to draw one line, and I'm going to zoom, 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 zoom in here a little bit and bring my light over there a little bit more. That's a little bit better. And now I get totally pulled in by the words as I'm looking at the screen. The mockingbird's verbal hilarity. I love that. What a turn of phrase and a gift of language she has. So here's one side of the stem. In Zentangle vernacular, I am going to aura that line to make that stem. I'm going to go ahead and just cap the end of that stem off. And then on the top of the stem, I'm going to draw a bulb. And when I look at this bulb, it reminds me of a Gaillardia flower where we have where you can see that center of the flower really standing out. I'm not sure what her inspiration was, but that's what it reminds me of. It has kind of a cattail shape. It's an elongated oval shape. And then we're going to go ahead and add some texture to that with just some dots, just using the tip of my pen, and I'm using a Micron 01, my favorite pen for tangling. I know others have other favorites. And now we're going to come in and add our petals. And we're going to add one kind of a long teardrop shape there, or petal shape. And I'm going to turn my page to make it easier to draw. And right next to that one, I'm going to draw two. And then I'm going to tuck one more little smaller one in here, three. And then I'm going to come over here to this other side. And I'm going to add 4 and 5. It's a very simple pattern to draw. And then we want to add some lovely texture and decoration to these petals. So first I'm going to come in with just a little bit of line work in the center of each of these. If you ever look up close at a petal of a flower, they do have a lot of striations on them. And then I'm going to add one tiny little dot at the top of those lines inside of each petal. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of thickening at the end, as if these have all been dipped in color. Just taking my time, going slow, being mindful of my breath. And you can see that I'm turning my page as needed, but basically I'm starting here by adding an inner aura to the petal And then just taking a minute to sort of blacken that in, trying to get out of the way of that shadow there. So just a little bit of an aura there. And then to finish this off, we're going to add some fun stamen. And I love these stamen because to me, they look like another one of my favorite Zentangle patterns, which is fescue. So we're going to come up in just a slightly curved shape with a little bulb on the end. We're going to make 2 of those on each side, and I'm going to blacken in those little bulbs as if these are the stamen of the flowers here. And you could add fewer or more of these as you choose. And because I like to have my patterns be sort of anchored on the page and not as if they're just floating on the page, I'm thinking I might want to come in and just put kind of a little line of grass down here and maybe a couple more of those fescue. We don't need a lot of them, but all of a sudden it looks like we have a little bit of a landscape and a little bit of something happening on the page. And I love how I sort of almost unintentionally underlined the invisible gift, our purest sweet necessity, the air. And then I'm thinking it would be fun to have another one of these on the page. So I'm going to take some liberty and maybe draw a tall one on a really long stem. I'm going to aura that stem just like I did in the first one. And I'm going to come in and add that long oval shape. Going to give that shape some nice texture. Going to turn my page to make it easy to draw. And we're going to add those petal shapes. 1. And I'm taking off and landing always right back at the edge of this petal. And I'm actually going over the line of the petal next to it again. So I'm starting in that center, just following that same line down to give our petals that nice sort of stacked, layered effect. So starting right here, taking off and landing right back in that same place. And no 2 flowers should look exactly alike, right? So this one's a little bigger. And we're going to add our fun little stamen here. We're going to come in and add our texture to our petals. And then we're going to come in with that inner aura. And you can always draw all the aura lines and black them in. I was kind of doing it one at a time. I always so appreciate when you join me live, when you catch the replay, when you stop by and say hello and let me know you're enjoying what I'm creating. And be sure to hit that subscribe button, click the little bell so that you get notified of when I go live or when I add any new content to the channel. And if you like my video today, please do click that like button. That lets other people know it's a video worth watching. And if you have any questions about the step out of this pattern, please do ask. I'm going to go ahead and put my chop down here. My chop is just my initials. My son actually helped me come up with the design of that. And this is the pattern Prima by, make sure I get her name right, Kimberly Wood. And this is day 14, Inktober Tangles. I like to add the name of the pattern and the date to the page so that I remember when I was doing this work, and also because now I have this lovely book of poetry that's also a dictionary of some gorgeous tangle patterns. So this is day 14 of Inktober Tangles, Prima by Kimberly Wood, and this beautiful love poem, Oxygen by Mary Oliver. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And I'll be back with more poems and patterns throughout the month of October. I'll see you soon. Thanks for being here.